D'Urberville was disturbed. "But I only asked for your sake," he retorted hotly. "Angels of heaven, God forgive me for such an expression! I came here, I swear, as I thought for your good. Tess, don't look at me so. I cannot stand your looks. There never were such eyes, surely, before Christianity or since. There, I won't lose my head. I dare not. I own that the sight of you had wakened up my love for you, which I believed was extinguished with all such feelings. But I thought that our marriage might be a sanctification for us both. The unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband, I said to myself. But my plan is dashed from me, and I must bear the disappointment." He moodily reflected with his eyes on the ground. "Married, married! Well, that being so," he added quite calmly, tearing the licence slowly into halves and putting them in his pocket, "that being prevented, I should like to do some good for you and your husband, whoever he may be. There are many questions that I am tempted to ask, but I will not do so, of course, in opposition to your wishes. Though, if I could know your husband, I might more easily benefit him and you. Is he on this farm?" "No," she murmured. "He is far away." "Far away? From you? What sort of a husband can he be?" "Oh, do not speak against him. It was through you he found out." "Ah, it is so. That's sad, Tess." "Yes." "But to stay away from you, to leave you to work like this!" "He does not leave me to work," she cried, springing to the defence of the absent one with all her fervour. "He don't know it. It is by my own arrangement." "Then does he write?" I cannot tell you. There are things which are private to ourselves." "Of course that means that he does not. You are a deserted wife, my fair Tess." In an impulse he turned suddenly to take her hand. The buff glove was on it, and he seized only the rough leather fingers which did not express the life or shape of those within. "You must not, you must not!" she cried fearfully, slipping her hand from the glove as from a pocket, and leaving it in his grasp. "Oh, will you go away, for the sake of me and my husband? Go, in the name of your own Christianity!" "Yes, yes, I will," he said abruptly, and thrusting the glove back to her, he turned to leave. Facing round, however, he said, "Tess, as God is my judge, I meant no humbug in taking your hand." A pattering of hoofs on the soil of the field, which they had not noticed in their preoccupation, ceased close behind them, and a voice reached her ear.
"What the devil are you doing away from your work at this time of day?"
Farmer Groby had espied the two figures from the distance, and had inquisitively ridden across to learn what was their business in his field. "Don't speak like that to her," said d'Urberville, his face blackening with something that was not Christianity.
"Indeed, mister, and what mid Methodist parsons have to do with she?"
"Who is the fellow?" asked d'Urberville, turning to Tess. She went close up to him. "Go, I do beg you," she said. "What, and leave you to that tyrant? I can see in his face what a churl he is." "He won't hurt me. He's not in love with me. I can leave at Lady Day." "Well, I have no right to obey, I suppose, but, well, goodbye." Her defender, whom she dreaded more than her assailant, having reluctantly disappeared, the farmer continued his reprimand, which Tess took with the greatest coolness, that sort of attack being independent of sex. To have as a master this man of stone, who would have cuffed her if he had dared, was almost a relief after her former experiences. She silently walked back towards the summit of the field that was the scene of her labour, so absorbed in the interview which had just taken place that she was hardly aware that the nose of Groby's horse almost touched her shoulders.
"If so be you make an arrangement to work for me till Lady Day, I'll see you carry it out," he growled. "Od rot the women! Now 'tis one thing, and then 'tis the other. But I'll put up wi' it no longer." Knowing very well that he did not harass the other women of the farm as he harassed her out of spite for the flooring he had once received, she did for one moment picture what might have been the result if she had been free to accept the offer just made of her, of being the moneyed Alec's wife. It would have lifted her completely out of subjection, not only to her present oppressive employer, but to a whole world who seemed to despise her. "But no, no," she said breathlessly. "I could not have married him now. He is so unpleasant to me." That very night she began an appealing letter to Clare, concealing from him her hardships and assuring him of her undying affection. Anyone who had been in a position to read between the lines would have seen that at the back of her great love was some monstrous fear, almost a desperation, as to some secret contingencies which were not disclosed. But again she did not finish her effusion. He had asked Izz to go with him, and perhaps he did not care for her at all. She put the letter in her box, and wondered if it would ever reach Angel's hands. After this her daily tasks were gone through heavily enough, and brought on the day which was of great import to agriculturalists, the day of the Candlemas Fair. It was at this fair that new engagements were entered into for the 12 months following the ensuing Lady Day, and those of the farming population who thought of changing their places duly attended at the county town where the fair was held. Nearly all the labourers at Flintcomb farm intended flight, and early in the morning there was a general exodus in the direction of the town, which lay at a distance of from 10 to a dozen miles over hilly country. Though Tess also meant to leave at the quarter-day, she was one of the few who did not go to the fair, having a vaguely shaped hope that something would happen to render another outdoor engagement unnecessary. It was a peaceful February day, of wonderful softness for the time, and one would almost have thought that winter was over. She had hardly finished her dinner when d'Urberville's figure darkened the window of the cottage wherein she was a lodger, which she had all to herself to-day. Tess jumped up, but her visitor had knocked at the door, and she could hardly in reason run away. D'Urberville's knock, his walk up to the door, had some indescribable quality of difference from his air when she last saw him. They seemed to be acts of which the doer was ashamed. She thought that she would not open the door, but as there was no sense in that either, she arose, and having lifted the latch, stepped back quickly. He came in, saw her, and flung himself down to a chair before speaking. "Tess, I couldn't help it," he began desperately as he wiped his heated face, which had also a superimposed flush of excitement. "I felt that I must call at least to ask how you are. I assure you that I have not been thinking of you at all till I saw you that Sunday. Now I cannot get rid of your image, try how I may. It is hard that a good woman should do harm to a bad man, yet so it is. If you would only pray for me, Tess." The suppressed discontent of his manner was almost pitiable, and yet Tess did not pity him. "How can I pray for you," she said, "when I am forbidden to believe that the great Power who moves the world will alter his plans on my account?